Over the break, Representative Lauren Boebert made some Islamophobic statements against Representative Ilhan Omar, essentially referring to her as a terrorist. When that scandal broke, Boebert issued a half apology, but today the update is she decided to reverse her apology and double down on her awfulness. We'll get to her, half apology in just a second, but before we do, here's the leaked video that started everything.
So the other night on the House floor was not my first Jihad Squad moment. I was getting into an elevator with one of my staffers, and he and I were leaving the Capitol. We're going back to my office, and we get in the elevator, and I see a Capitol police officer running hurriedly to the elevator. I see fret all over his face, and he's reaching, and I'm like, "What? The door's shutting. Like I can't open it. Like what's happening?" I look to my left. And there she is, Ilhan Omar. Oops. And I said, well, she doesn't have a backpack. We should be fine. So we only had one floor to go. And I was like, do I say it? Do I not? I looked over. And I said, oh, look, the Jihad Squad decided to show up for work today. Don't worry, it's just her staffers on Twitter that talk for her. She's not tough in person. She doesn't, yes.
That is the most unsurprising video of all time. That is exactly what you can expect from right-wingers who have nothing to offer their own constituents. So they offer this garbage. This is what they're gonna do time and time again. They're not gonna apologize for it. They're always gonna double down. This story is boring because it's a recycled version of the same garbage we've been dealing with for years now. But hey, it's a top story, headline news. Everybody focus on the, disgusting racism and Islamophobia and bigotry coming from Republicans as if it's a news story. It's not a news story. Again, it's the same recycled garbage. Nonetheless, Representative Ilhan Omar responded to it saying, fact, this buffoon looks down when she sees me at the Capitol. This whole story is made up. Of course it is. Sad she thinks bigotry gets her clout. Of course it does. What else is she gonna offer her voters? Anti-Muslim bigotry isn't funny and shouldn't be normalized. Congress can't be a place where hateful and dangerous Muslim tropes get no condemnation. But it is. It is. That's just the fact of the matter. And calling it out, I know people are gonna get on me for this, and I understand why. Calling it out and demanding apologies emboldens them further. This is who they are. This is what they are. The sooner we start mocking them and treating them the way they deserve to be treated, which is ignored, humiliated, mocked, that's really the only winning strategy. But expecting them to ever apologize for it, not gonna happen. There's way more to this story, but I'm just so sick of this garbage. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the media covering it as if it's like, oh my goodness, can you imagine? A Republican lawmaker said Islamophobic. Yeah, where have you guys been over the last, I don't know, like several decades at this point? I mean, the Islamophobia is oozing out of the GOP. Are you guys like shocked by this? This is not new. Anyway, go ahead, Cenk.
No, but Anna, that is the story. This story, like you're right, the story isn't Lauren Boebert says something anti-Muslim. The story is that the media is shocked by it. Are you serious? Like that, if they just closed the loop and said, no, look, obviously the Republican Party is the party of hate. They're trying to kick, little girls off of high school track teams because of gender identity issues. They're trying to, dictate which bathrooms you can go to because they hate trans people. Before that, they hated gay people. Republican Party sponsored ballot measures in almost every state against gay people. Before that, they hated black people. That's super obvious. They did a Southern strategy. The entire Republican Party did to appeal to racists in the South. They called Latino immigrants criminals and rapists. They've hated Muslims forever. They're obviously the party of hate. That is super duper obvious to any rational person. If everybody admitted that, and then the Republicans were like, oh yeah, we do that, we're the hate party. So Muslims have almost no power in America, so we hate them, and we encourage hatred towards them, then okay, great, then it's not a news story and we move on with our lives, right? But people won't admit the obvious. That's why we rip our hair out here. But yes, there's the update on it is that now Boebert is half retracting, half her half apology. So let's get to that, and then we'll deal with it.
And by the way, while people are starving, while people can't, afford a place to live in, while people are struggling, right? Like this is the multi-day top news story that like will not die down. It's just this is the most important story in the country, okay? There's layers to it. Every day there's a new update because this is what emboldens the GOP. And the media plays along with it, and this is all we talk about for several days in a row. It drives me freaking insane. So first, Boebert, in response to the backlash, issued kind of an apology on Twitter saying, I apologize to anyone in the Muslim community I have offended with my comment about Representative Omar. I have reached out to her office to speak with her directly. There are plenty of policy differences to focus on, except she never focuses on policy differences because there's no substance to her, along with all the other Republican lawmakers. And to be quite honest with you, corporate Democrats as well. They love leaning into this kind of stuff because it avoids actually talking about the policies that they campaigned on, but have failed to pass. But let me continue with this, faux apology. There are plenty of policy differences, Boebert says, to focus on without this unnecessary distraction. So she knows it's a distraction. Everyone knows it's a distraction, but let's keep talking about it because why not?
But Anna, I just got to say two quick things about that. One is Boebert started the unnecessary distraction and then seems to be blaming others for it.
Yeah.
There was nothing until Boebert opened her hateful mouth and started saying hateful things. So, and then secondly, she never apologized to Ilhan Omar there for calling her jihad squad and joking about her backpack blowing up. And she generically apologized to the Muslim community. And I guarantee you it's because some Christian preacher was like, oh, hey, it's about religion. And remember, we're pretending to be in favor of religious tolerance. That's what that's about.
All right, and then after that, she decided to put out this bizarre video. So let's watch.
Hey everyone, this is Lauren with a quick update on a phone call I had today with squad member Ilhan Omar. I had reached out to her Friday, and 3 days later, I was able to connect with her on the phone because I wanted to let her know directly that I had reflected on my previous remarks. Now, as a strong Christian woman who values faith deeply, I never want anything I say to offend someone's religion. So I told her that. Even after I put out a public statement to that effect, she said that she still wanted a public apology because what I had done wasn't good enough. So I reiterated to her what I had just said. She kept asking for a public apology. So I told Ilhan Omar that she should make a public apology to the American people for her anti-American, anti-Semitic, anti-police rhetoric. She continued to press, and I continued to press back. And then Representative Omar hung up on me. Rejecting an apology and hanging up on someone is part of cancel culture 101 and a pillar of the Democrat Party.
So do you guys get what I'm saying? Like she's making herself out to be some sort of hero. It's gonna play well with the Republican base. And so the point that I'm trying to make is Democrats need to accept the fact that the GOP is as Islamophobic. I'm talking about the lawmakers here, right? As Islamophobic and racist as they think they are, okay? That's not news. They're gonna say awful things about Democratic lawmakers, especially Muslim Democratic lawmakers. And what they want more than anything is for everyone to get upset, everyone to demand apologies, so they can spin this the way Lauren Boebert just spun it, in a way that makes it appear as though she's actually carrying out the best interests of her constituents, when in reality, she's doing jack shit, just jack. She's doing nothing to help out her own constituents. She's not doing anything policy-wise to better their lives. She's not doing anything to actually, respond to some of their real substantive concerns. All she's doing is spinning this drama into something that makes her look like she's some sort of hero, right? And what do Democrats get? They just get mad, they get angry. But I would say, how about play offense? How about in response to that, instead of demanding an apology, oh, you want to talk about terrorists? You want to talk about dangerous people in the country? Tweet out some videos about what happened in Charlottesville. Tweet out some videos about what happened on January 6th. Okay, demanding apologies is not gonna work. I get it, the right thing to do is to receive the apology, but this is politics and Democrats ain't gonna get it.
Yeah, well, let me back up what you're saying in a couple of different ways. First of all, the reason you're so tired of it is because Democrats, there's a couple of angles here. One is the Democrats are never going to learn their lesson. So the way that every one of these unfolds, and you'll see it in the next one that happens, is a Republican will say something hateful. Democrats will ask for an apology. Media will be shocked and chagrined. And then when the Republican basically doesn't apologize and says the media is attacking them, they then will be considered the victims by their own followers. And that way they'll get to be mad at the media. They'll claim their favorite thing in the world to being victims. And they'll pretend that the Democrats made it racial or religious or whatever, even though they're the ones who started it. And you could see it in Boebert's tweet. She starts a distraction and then calls it a distraction as if she's the victim who got pulled into this thing. So this is a cycle every single time. The way to break the cycle is for the media to say, obviously the Republican Party is the party of hate for all the reasons I listed. It's not an opinion. These are based on absolute rock solid facts and statements by Republican leaders. The Southern strategy is not an opinion. It's a thing that happened. It's a thing that's still happening. Republicans ran on it. All of their leaders admitted it. And it was to gain racist voters in the South. That was the whole point of the goddamn party. They switched. And when they switched, they specifically decided to be the party of racism. But the mainstream media will never acknowledge that because we want to be bipartisan, Republican voters' feelings. Okay, and then look, in terms of the Democrats, Anna's right again. You guys aren't getting it. Just saying that they're racist or they're bigots isn't enough. You've already done that 2,000 times, right?
Exactly.
What you need, look, you need to play offense on two things. One, if you want to stay on culture wars, fine. She says, I'm Ilhan Omar is a terrorist, or implies that she supports terrorists, right? No, she says she supports terrorists. That's an outrageous thing to say. So instead of go crying about it, you should counterattack and say, hey, Boebert, you're part of the monsters that supported the Nazis in Charlottesville. No, I didn't. No, I want an apology. Good, now they're playing defense, okay? And say, hey, you know what? Lauren Boebert, do you support the terrorists on January 6th that attacked our capital? They attacked the United States Capitol, Lauren Boebert. Are you a terrorist sympathizer? That puts them on defense. But Democrats will never do that because, the beloved feelings of Republicans. That's what rules this country. The fragile feelings of Republicans. And I'll go way further. You know me, I'll tell you the reality, which is that Republican voters, they almost universally despise Muslims. Okay, it's not just their politicians. The voters, Republican voters hate Muslims. So they're not gonna lose a single vote. They're not gonna lose a single vote by saying anti-Muslim things. And they all know that. We're all playing patty cakes here with goddamn Republican voters who love the hatred. That's why they're in the party. They didn't miss it. That's what they came for. So just be honest about it. But finally, the actual thing to do is to pivot all the way to economic issues where we have a giant advantage in what Anna talks about all the time. Boebert, are you for higher wages or are you against raising the minimum wage? Are you for everybody getting health care or you don't mind people dying because your insurance donors didn't make enough money? But the Democrats would never do that because they're also corrupt.
Yeah, and look, I think that representatives like Ilhan Omar are a little different from corporate Democrats, and she actually has a leg to stand on in regard to economic issues and economic policies that she's championed and tend to be popular across the board, even with Republican voters. My point is not that, what Lauren Boebert says wasn't wrong. What she said was wrong. My point is you need to respond to it strategically instead of just demanding an apology because that makes you look like the weak one. And it plays exactly into what they want again and again.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.